It's hell playing at Arsenal this season. They might gift you an early goal or fluff a penalty, but they'll toy with you for most of the match, letting you think you might get a result, and they'll break your heart right at the death. Last year here, a Matt Taylor special put Pompey 2-0 up, but they were still in the end denied a first win against Arsenal in nearly half a century. There for us today, Steve Wilson.
As Arsenal face an uncertain future off the pitch, they're reminded of their past on it by the visit of Portsmouth. Carnu and Lauren are here, so too Campbell, although Sol is only a spectator today. Arsenal are without Bakary Sagna, who has a back injury, so Flamini goes to right back, Gilberto into midfield, and Sendros into the centre of their defence. Alexander Kleb has recovered from illness to start. Almouni is still in goal. Campbell's absence for Portsmouth is down to a troublesome groin injury, though he does still hope to be fit for England. Pamero plays with Distan at the back. Glenn Johnson makes his debut after joining from Chelsea on deadline day. This is John Utaka, direct, and it took a deflection, and it'll be a Portsmouth corner inside the first 2 minutes of the game. Taylor's left foot to deliver. He cleared Distan, and there was contact inside the penalty area between Senderos and Hreidarsson, and Hreidarsson felt it was deliberate, and he felt it was a foul. Have a look at this. Certainly stood in his way with his hands raised. Senderos. It's unquestionably a case for Hreidarsson to look at the referee. It's a poor ball from Johnson straight to Gilberto. Here's Clichy. Now Rosicki. Lauren was caught, and Van Persie will get there ahead of James. It's a penalty. Has to be. Well, very little that Mark Halsey could do but point to the spot here. Van Persie was onto it in a flash, and David James made no contact at all with the ball, but was sold short by those in front of him. And Van Persie, who missed one here against Manchester City, well, it was saved by Kasper Schmeichel, has handed over the responsibility to Adebayor. Emmanuel Adebayor scores for Arsenal. Never looked to be in doubt. Here's Fabregas. And Kleb, and Adebayor's in the middle. Oh, and any touch would have made it two. He only needed to get a toe on it. It seemed to me that he got there in front of David James. Fabregas looking for Adebayor, who Portsmouth are really struggling to pick up. Pamero is finding Adebayor to be too much of a handful at the moment. This is Fabregas, bit of room. He's really stepped up to the plate, Fabregas, this season, even more so since the departure of Thierry Henry. Good turn by Kleb. Now Fabregas, another good turn. Van Persie, Gilberto, Rosicki. Arsenal fluent here. Adebayor came off Pamero. They've got a corner. Rosicki to take the corner. Gilberto got the flick, and Fabregas is there! And that's a fourth goal of the season for Cesc Fabregas. It's a wicked curling corner, and Gilberto gets a touch. Might have been his goal had it not hit Davis on the line, but Fabregas reacted first to hook it in. Gilberto's header might actually have hit Fabregas, but it's certainly the Spaniards' goal, and it's 2-0 to Arsenal. Rosicki, lovely header into Adebayor. This is great stuff from Arsenal. Van Persie in the middle with Rosicki. The approach play is enough to get 60,000 people on their feet. Didn't even need a goal to get them off their seats. That's a header from Senderos, which finds its way only to John Utaka. Into the midriff of Gilberto, onto the foot of Adebayor. Van Persie in the middle, and Taylor is reasonably happy to concede a corner because the other options weren't too attractive. And Adebayor and Fabregas are all forward, and Fabregas is hoping for another tap-in on the line. And it almost came to him, and it bounces up off Distan, and a very good save from David James denies Senderos. It's a really good stop. Philippe Senderos must have thought he was in here for an Arsenal third. Montari, and a good ball through to Kanu. It's a clumsy-looking challenge from Senderos. Free kick to Portsmouth in a very interesting position, and a yellow card for the... It's a red card for Senderos. It's a straight red. Kanu is goal side. Senderos lunges clumsily, really, into Kanu. And that is a red card, says Mark Hulsey. That just might be a pivotal moment in this game. It's John Utaka, good save by Almunia, and the rebound's over the bar. John Utaka with a free kick, and Almunia made the save, but Davis following up. Couldn't keep it under the crossbar. It was a great chance. Here's Clichy. John Utaka with the barge into Gael Clichy. Fabregas takes his Rosicky. Oh, and it's three! Portsmouth were asleep, Rosicky wasn't. Harry Redknapp will be incensed. They had simply gone to sleep. Fabregas and Rosicky were on the same wavelength. And in the twinkling of an eye, it's 3-0. John Utaka here, Kanu in the middle. Kanu, oh my goodness me, within seconds they've scored. And I don't think Kanu meant it. This is as curious a goal as you will see. Decent ball in by Utaka, watch Kanu here. No way he meant that. But mean it or not, it counts, it's 3-1. Here's Rosicky. Spread it beautifully, Arsenal to Clichy. Oh, it's a delicious ball! Oh, and it could have been a magnificent goal, but Diaby somehow has put his header wide. It's a magnificent piece of play. What a pass from Clichy, and what a miss from Diaby. That's a magnificent cross. Glenn Johnson in quickly. Johnson invited to shoot, really. Good save by Almunia. John Utaka out by Gilberto. Johnson again, his first touch was too heavy. And it's a let-off for Arsenal. Good save by Almunia. Well, just the invitation was sent to Glenn Johnson. Go on, hit it, and he did. John Utaka was bundled over by Clichy. 10 minutes to go. And now Arsenal sleeping from a quickly taken free kick, and Utaka can't beat Almunia. Well, it's the red shirts who are half asleep here. Johnson. Good play by Johnson. Still got it. It's a lovely ball. It's a great chance for Nugent. Just not perhaps decisive enough inside the penalty area when it fell to him here. Nugent just wanted that extra little look, and that allowed Kolo Touré to come across and make the block. Diaby. Pedro Mendes is down for Portsmouth on the far side. Arsenal are continuing with Danielson and now Eduardo. And Diaby, Mendes is back up, Diaby. Vicious drive. Well, if this had hit the crossbar, they might well have needed to invest in a new one.
We were tested a little bit in all areas today. First half, we've shown tremendous quality. Second half went down to 10 men. We were tested mentally, physically, and how much we can fight for each other. And I must say it's a big pleasure to work with this team because they have such a great spirit, such a great love for the game, and such a great understanding that's really enjoyable to watch.
Arsenal having a mindset saying, "Oh, give us an opportunity to get back into the game," and we felt that we could do that, and I think we did. Throughout the remainder of the second half, I think we made chances and had opportunities to make more chances, and we didn't take them.
Late on in the game, you put in a magnificent cross for Abou Diaby. Have you asked him how he didn't score?
I thought it was a good ball, and you know, maybe if he had keep his eyes open when he hit the ball, maybe he would have scored. But no, we made a little joke with that.
It's the big one next week, the North London derby. Will you go into that game with your contract signed, do you think, Arsene?
Well, I will go into that game with my situation certainly sorted out, but you will know more about it this week.
It will be sorted by that game?
I hope, you know, you never know, but I have some time now. There's a break where we can focus on that, and we'll try to progress.
Now, I respect the fact it's important to Arsenal fans, but this will he, won't he sign it saga, it's gone on longer than the Tevez affair, much longer. Is it nearly over? Tell me it is.
Just swap the name from Henry to Wenger. It's Wenger's turn now, and it comes up every year. You know, the big signings, the big players, or the manager, and this time it's the manager. I think he'll sign it. He's a man of his word, and if he says he's going to sign his contract, he will. There's a few things got to be ironed out, and I'm sure that the stability of the club is on his mind. I don't think that's a breaking point over the deal. And by maybe this time in 2 weeks' time, we should know something. He didn't say yes, though, did he?
No, he did, not quite. And one stipulation in his contract is that he could play Portsmouth every week on their sort of defensive showing today.
Well, defensively, they were really poor, especially at set pieces. And when my old colleague, Mr. Tony Adams, has a look at this...
He knows where you live, don't forget.
I know,
exactly. What you're saying.
This is a corner. Canu's near post. This is his job. Near post space. The ball actually goes over his head, but watch where it bounces. If you bounce a ball in your 6-yard box, you're asking for trouble. Great save in the end, but nobody in that 6-yard box. Look at this. First thing you notice, nobody on the post. David James doesn't have anybody, 2 full-backs on the post, which is really strange for a goalkeeper. Now we see Canu, this is his position again, near post. His job is to cover that space. Anybody comes into that space, it's his. Be first there. We look at this. This is the run that Gilberto's going to make in the space just in front of the near post. Canu should know he's coming. He should be looking over his shoulder. Fabregas is just placed on the goalkeeper to cause havoc. Watch when the ball comes in. Gilberto makes the run, loses his man, in front of Canu, doesn't even move. And if there's somebody on the post, Fabregas doesn't score. Now this is even worse. Van Persie throws the ball down and lets the full-back take the throw-in. Look at Adebayor. There's 3 players in front of him, defenders. He just jogs over, gets the ball to feet, no pressure. That is simply schoolboy defending. Ball comes back, eventually gets fouled by Yutaka. The free kick, this is the free kick. Now watch this. This is unbelievable. We see 1, 2, 3 Portsmouth defenders all looking up the pitch, not even looking at the ball. Cesc Fabregas sees Rosicky make a little run, ball in the space. Harry Redknapp and Tony Adams must be absolutely pulling their hair out, because that is just... I think Harry said after the game that the 3rd goal, which was that one, was the worst he's ever seen, and I'm sure he's seen some bad ones in his time, but quite frankly, if you defend like that from set pieces, you're asking for trouble.
Your former boss was waxing lyrical about what's happened to the club this season. There's a new spirit here, etc., etc. That is being taken in some quarters as implying that Henry wasn't exactly the most helpful figure in the camp.
Well, I think his asset was his play on the pitch, and he was a huge presence in the dressing room. I've said this before, and I think some of the younger players were in that shadow. And I think this season they've come out of that and they're playing without that shadow. And certainly one of the players who's benefiting from that, although he played well last season, but Fabregas has taken a completely different attitude to the game.
Yeah, I think he's the heartbeat of the team. He's the soul, if you like. I mean, I actually think he's the complete midfielder now as well. I mean, he can pass, he can dribble with the ball, he's got aggression. He's got 4 goals already this season. He had 4 the whole of last season. The thing that stands out for me, Adrian, above everything else, is that he can do the unusual. So whether you're the opposition or whether you're actually his teammate, when Fabregas is on the ball, expect the unexpected. So we can take a look at this.
And Fabregas, that was so good, Rosicki couldn't read it.
And that's the point. I mean, Van Persie here, you know, dribbles. When he plays it into Fabregas, he stops his run. You've got to continue it because Fabregas will find you with a pass, something unusual. And here's that goal, Lee covered, the Rosicki goal. Look, he looks once, he looks twice, he's ahead of the game, he's always looking up, looking to bring people into play, quick thinking, bang, that's the 3rd and the decisive goal. And the fans are delighted. They're seeing the beautiful game played to perfection at Arsenal. And with Henry gone, here's the new king of Arsenal. I think he's absolutely superb. And, you know, I don't think they'll win the title. I think there's just something missing, maybe that little bit of steel. But for years to come, that's going to be such a good team.
4 clubs on 10 points at the top of the Barclays Premier League. Liverpool on top, Arsenal right up there. Chelsea and Man City down to 4th and 5th following those defeats today. The bottom, I'm not sure what's more depressing for Derby fans, the sorry points tally or the very negative goal difference. Bolton and Reading are keeping the other 2 promoted sides out of the bottom 3. Let's have a look at 2 good, 2 bad. Here's Craig Bellamy celebrating. Now look carefully, on the left of your screen you can see somebody's nan giving him 2 lots of V signs. It's unacceptable from a grandmother, and you don't expect it somehow in the Royal County of Berkshire either. Dear, oh dear. If you're that woman's grandchild, do get in touch. Keane, what has he seen at Old Trafford he doesn't like? Something has caught his eye, plainly up in the stands. What is it? Yes, it's a fella eating a prawn sandwich. He's never like that. Oh, if looks could kill. He's quietly furious, isn't he? Here's an overhead kick, perfectly executed. Absolutely marvellous technique. 1 detail missing, actually making contact with the ball, but looked absolutely marvellous otherwise. Roman Abramovich. I've spent squillions, I can't even beat the Villa. No wonder Doug Ellis is smiling, and why not? Jose Mourinho, the most beautiful man in the world. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why has he done that to his hair? Gavin's got no hair and he knows that's absolutely rubbish. It was a filthy weather at Ewood Park today. Some ladies there felt the cold terribly and wrapped up warm. Others plainly didn't. Heavens above. On the Sabbath as well. Hey, mate, get out the way, please. Out the way, son. Thank you very much indeed. Dear, oh dear. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. We'll be back in a fortnight. Have a great week. Bye for now.
With my team, and that's one of the reasons as well that I wanted to get the taste of how hungry his team is first before I definitely go for it. And the first signs this season is that the team has really matured. A completely different attitude towards the competition, more responsible, more disciplined, and that can bring success.
No real surprise that he's signed, Lee, but it's a massive relief for Gunners fans.
It is. I don't think there was any question him not signing. I think it's always on his cards. He's never broke a contract in his life. He wouldn't have done this one. I think there was a bit of concern over obviously the boardroom level. Maybe he's had some assurances from Mr. Dean that all's well. I don't know. Yeah. But I think he's created a dynasty there, and I think he wants to see it through to the end. He's a new training ground, a new football ground to play in, and probably his 3rd team now. So he sees in this team the youngsters developing under his guidance. I think before he had the influence of the older players coming in. They've all gone now. This is his new team. Thierry's not there to lead them, so he's taking the responsibility to push this team to new levels. He wouldn't have stayed if he wasn't excited. We saw by the interview that he loves his job. Yeah. And £4 million a year, it's not a bad payment as well.
Do you think David Dean will come back to Arsenal?
personally think it won't be long before he makes a move of some sort. We've seen that last week, and I don't think it's long.
Yeah, and on Wenger signing the contract, not only good for Arsenal, great for British football.
Well, I think there's no better man to run your football club in every regard. You know, bringing players through, turning them into teams. Look at the way he balances his books. You know, the players he's sold: Petit, Vieira, Overmars, Anelka, Henry, and yet he's constantly changed. He's probably on his third or fourth team now. Got rid of some of the old brigade. Obviously, that was room for improvement there. And I think everything he does, and I think he's great. And he's been talking. You said about David Dean and maybe outside influence, American investment, Russian investment. But he's saying, hold on, we don't need it because with me in charge of the football club, I can balance everything. I think he's done an absolutely fantastic job.
Yeah, and there's talk that he'll have money to spend at the start of next season.
That's frightening.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's always said he's looked at his team now, and I don't think he needs to add to it at this moment in time. You look at them, very exciting team to watch, and they're young, they'll only develop, and I think he wants to see that through and make sure that this team, I think it could be the best team he's had there since he's taken over.
Well, they've got such a good stadium now, he's got no excuse for saying, I didn't see the incident, has he? Could get away with it. The Emirates now, no.
I still think the team's a bit short, and if he thinks it's right, then I'll go with that. But I just think up front, whether they score enough goals, we've all seen how they play. They pass the ball for fun, and they do create chances, but sometimes they just go down the middle for me a bit too much and don't get enough width, and the centre forward position is up for grabs, I feel. Van Persie was missing last year and Thierry's not there. How does Eduardo come in? He looks quite sharp.
Yeah.
Is he going to score enough goals? That's the only concern. Say that. I'm not so sure about centre back as well. In fact, he needs an whole new. Yeah, he needs a whole new team.
Anyway, you were saying.
Just going through the team, and we had two fullbacks, all right.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Returns this weekend after a fortnight off, and Arsene Wenger takes charge of Arsenal for the first time since committing his future to the club. Victory in the North London derby would be the perfect celebration. Wenger admits he did consider his future, but the potential of the current squad ensured walking away was never a realistic option.
I'm more committed than ever to do well for the club, and I want to go very far with this team because I have strong belief in the players who work with me at the moment, and I want to achieve that. I know that there was some skepticism amongst people, but I have always a very, very strong belief in this team and these players, and I want to go as high as I can with them.
Was there ever an instance, a time when you were thinking not to sign this contract?
Well, you always wonder, first of all, can you do well enough for the club, and what is of course, what kind of orientation you want to give to your life, because at every stage of your career, you have to make choices where you know, do you want to go a different way or not? So you think about it, but never really I had a doubt about that.
What was the main factor that convinced you 100% then that you were to stay here?
Well, the fact that I can help this team to improve and to do well, the fact that I have conditions here to work the way I love to work, and the way the fact that I feel I can push this club higher,